Welcome everybody. I'm so happy to be with you this morning. So we've heard that today we're going to shine a spotlight on changing the focus of leadership. Tanner Collins is going to talk to you about team building. Michael Marshall is going to have a conversation with you about accountability. Mike Metzger is going to help us take a look at and recognize anxiety and what we can do to overcome that. But you know what? It's all just talk if we don't know how to build solid relationships, right? And then there's so many ways that we can set those relationships up to serve us and to serve others, and yet there's so many ways that they can go terribly wrong. Why should we care about relationships? Well, because they add value to our lives. And you've just shared with me a list of different relationships that are value added. But how do we do that? What's our approach? And then who do we use these approaches with? I mean, how do we do that in collaboration? Change is hard. Our brains don't like it. We avoid it when we can. And yet change, it's like death and taxes. It's going to happen. Our bodies change, our relationships change, our businesses change. And we have the world at large to take into consideration, don't we? So what can we as leaders do to reduce that stress, to create real relationship, where we feel like we can show up as our whole selves? How can we do that? I have a suggestion on where to start. I suggest that we start with an expanded sense of awareness. What if you as leaders set the intention so that every person that you had a relationship knew that you wanted them to succeed, that was your intention? Your job is to serve that person so that they succeed. We have people who are coming to work who are dealing with loss, they're dealing with trauma, they're dealing with some of the most stressful events that we can imagine. And how do we as leaders create a safe space where people can show up authentically as they are, be seen and heard? Well, it starts with that greater sense of awareness that each of us as leaders can bring to the relationship. Here's my Gale guide. If you aren't showing up with integrity in your relationship, or you've had a situation where you're like, oh my gosh, why did I just say that? Well, then I'm going to invite you to consider that a Gale may have shown up. G is for gremlin, A for assumptions, I for interpretation, L for limiting beliefs. All of these things can be driving the bus, and if we show up in a relationship and a conversation did not go the way we had hoped, whether it's in a negotiation or a difficult conversation, take a look and do a check and see if one of your Gales have shown up.
Wendy was amazing. She was right on point. And if you haven't heard her talk, you haven't met with her, I recommend it.
I've had the pleasure of attending one of Wendy's workshops, and I was really impressed by the relevance of her content and how it's really applicable to just about any kind of business today. What I like is that she gives you some tools that you can use and apply right on the spot to see rapid and instant improvement in your business. I'd highly recommend her as a speaker. She's very engaging with the audience, and just can't say enough good stuff about Wendy and her presentation.
Hi, I just want to give a quick shout out to Wendy Dickinson. I just listened to her presentation around how important relationships are in a leadership setting, and she did a fantastic job. I know she has so much knowledge around that, and the presentation was just fantastic.